we are very honored that we have a guest speaker which has nothing to do at the moment with recycling. But he has to do a lot with environment, pioneering, and fighting against authorities, against all others who do not believe in you. He's a little bit similar like we are. Huh? We also fight for tough regulation, for law enforcement and things like that. He is doing the same, and he has a lot of success. This gentleman, I would like to ask to come on stage. It's Dr. Bertrand Piccard, the explorer of our century. Please. So, he is doctor, he is psychiatrist by profession. Why the hell is a psychiatrist becoming explorer? Explain me.
I also wanted to explore the human soul, the human behavior, what makes people successful or unsuccessful, happy or unhappy in life. You know, that's also an exploration, the inner world. Not only the outer world, but the outer world also interested me, don't worry. That's why I made a flight around the world in the balloon. And I think that's a little bit of the family tradition. My grandfather went up, my father went down, so I had to go horizontal all the way around the world.
Okay. Now you came in an airplane this morning, you will fly away in an airplane this afternoon, late afternoon. How many days you have spent in the air in your life?
I didn't count that. It's the first time I have the question, but I promise you for the next time I will make the account. But, well, after my balloon flight around the world, I think I had about 250 or 300 airplanes per year to go, ceremonies, speeches, political meetings, interviews, talk shows, and things like that. So it's a lot of time in the air. I have to say I love to fly. But what is fabulous with a solar-powered airplane is that it's not the goal that is important. You don't fly fast, but because you fly on solar power and you have no need for refueling, you can stay in the air forever. And you can fly day and night. And although you fly only 25 or 30 knots, the feeling of being completely free from fossil energy is absolutely fabulous. And you know, in a normal airplane, the goal is to be the fastest at destination. With solar impulse, the goal is to stay in the air as long as you can, because this demonstrates that the technology works and that you can fly forever.
So that means the day will come, you do not come back on Earth.
You know, my ultimate fantasy with a solar-powered airplane is to be able to take off and stay in the air for weeks. You can make your own oxygen, you can recycle your water. The only thing that we still need to do with my colleague André Borschberg is to learn how to grow our salads when we are flying high, so we can be independent with our own food.
Okay, thank you very much. Are you ready for your speech?
I'm always ready,
okay.
When I have to share what I'm really passionate about.
Okay, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So I was a little taken by surprise by the first question, so I didn't even say hello. So nice to be with you. Good afternoon to each of you. You might have heard one sentence in the little film previously. I don't know if you noticed which one is the most important. For me personally, the most important sentence is, "We made it." What did we do? Actually, for the first time in history, a solar-powered airplane could fly day and night with no fuel, with no pollution. The sun was enough to give energy to the 4 electrical motors and at the same time to load the batteries in order to be able to have enough energy during the day to spend the night in the air, reach the next sunrise, and continue. This flight was made by André Borschberg. It's my colleague, my partner in this project. And you see that if we want to achieve the impossible, we have to put the extremes together. I'm an explorer and a psychiatrist. André is an engineer and an entrepreneur. And we cover a bigger scope like this. And why did we need this bigger scope? It's just because everybody told us it was impossible. we were asking for some help to the aeronautical industry at first. And they said, you cannot do that. Because they calculated quite quickly that if you want to have an airplane that flies day and night with no fuel, the wingspan has to be roughly the one of a jumbo jet, 747 or an Airbus 340, but you are not allowed to be heavier than a small car, 1,600 kilos. So of course, if you ask to conventional aeronautical engineers or airplane constructors, they will only do what they know how to do. And you will have a conventional airplane with 4 jets burning tons of fuel. So if you want to go outside of the world of aviation, actually you have much more chance to succeed in doing something completely new. And the people who have built this airplane so light come from a shipyard. They did not know it was impossible, so they were happy to try and do it. So we see that when we speak about innovation, we have to think out of the system. It's not the people who invented the candles who invented the light bulbs. It's different. It's not even car manufacturers who made the best electrical car. The car manufacturers knew that we cannot make an electrical car that works for 400 kilometers. But the Tesla is made by an American billionaire who made his fortune on internet, not on car building. So he found a way to do it. And this is really an important metaphor that we all have to understand, because actually you are in a business and a technology where most of the people believed we could not make money and we could not be environmental friendly a few years ago. So you had to find ways to make it profitable and to make it a reality. You are pioneers. Actually, I don't know why I get an award here, because you are all worth getting an award for what you're doing. Because this example of innovation is something we share, I believe, very, very deeply. For a long time, the protection of the environment was boring and expensive. And the industry was polluting, but nevertheless it was useful because we need to pay salaries, we need to produce goods of consumptions, and we need to have growth and development. So there was this gap between the environment and everyday's life that was impossible to fill. Fortunately, since about 10 years, we have enough clean technologies to, at the same time, protect the environment and protect the natural resources of our world and make profit, have growth, produce what the world needs. This is a major change. So I'm not going to convince you about the importance of doing this because you do it. And I pull my hat. It's really something fabulous as a symbol for what everybody should do. But at the same time, we have so many people who are still reluctant. So many people who don't understand that today we can save natural resources, we can reduce energy consumption. And what we want to do with Solar Impulse is to show how sexy it can be, to make it fashionable, to make it attractive, to show that absolutely impossible things can be done with renewable energies, with clean technologies. And if an airplane can fly day and night with no fuel, can you imagine all the applications of these technologies? For insulation of houses, for lighting systems, for heating systems, for electrical motors, for light structures, for basically everything, batteries, even batteries. And all these technologies have been developed with us by partners who are not from the world of aviation. Chemical partners, insurers who care about climate change, watchmaker, elevator company. You know, all these people who know that if they want to survive in the future, they have to be innovative. They have to be pioneers. Because maybe a few years ago, to be a pioneer, that was not needed. People could do business as usual. Today, if we want to survive in our world, if we want to survive as an industry, we have to be pioneers. We have to really do what others don't dare to do. And this is how we can move ahead. So if you want to really use all the technologies we have on Solar Impulse, worldwide, everywhere, if it was globally distributed, with the technologies we have on board, we could divide by 2 the energy consumption of the world and produce half of the rest with renewable sources. That's just a fact, and it's profitable to do it. So we see how much it's difficult to convince people that it is in their own interest to change. That's the problem of the weight of habits, the weight of old beliefs, the weight of old convictions. The people who like to change are the people who explore. They are the people who find new ways to do and new ways to think. This is what we really have to promote. So I'd like to show you a little more with a film about our crossing of the United States last year. I think this film shows quite well the reaction of the people, the type of message we can give through this type of exploration. And I've been absolutely passionate about the history of exploration. And maybe while you'll see this film, you can just remember what I'm telling you now. You know, the planet in the 20th century has been conquered. The moon, Mariana Trench, North Pole, South Pole, the Everest. Fabulous, fabulous what has been done. But there is one thing that has not been conquered yet. It's the quality of life on this planet. And here there is a lot to do. So when we speak of pioneering and exploration, now it's maybe not so much to conquer, but to bring quality of life to humankind. And here it's about human rights. It's about protection of the environment. It's about medical research. It's about fighting poverty. It's about sustainability and new clean technologies. So you see how important, maybe also in that field, to have a psychiatrist. And Roger was asking why I'm a psychiatrist. I think clean technology today is a way to cure. It's a therapy, a treatment for our society. And our society is sick in that sense. When we see the short-term view of so many people who can destroy their environment just for the profit of today and have not yet understood the type of things you are doing to invest into a profitable business that brings long-term good for the next generations. So let's just think about this type of message through this film that we have made during the crossing of the United States. And then let's be maybe a little bit more interactive, and I'm also happy to have some of your questions. Can you please run the film?
So, Monsieur Piccard, thank you very much for the movie. It's very impressive, and you had a small accident I have seen here. So was it?
Yeah, it's
you were the pilot?
No, for that flight it was André. You know, it's really a prototype, something that had never existed. We have to build it as light as we can, and you see on the last leg of the last flight, we were starting to lose a piece of the wing, but everything finished well. Well, it's an airplane that is difficult to fly, it's true, but it's an airplane that has a real impact to the people who see it, and that's maybe the key of it. If I wanted to give the same speech than today, without this airplane, nobody would ever listen to me. Speaking of exploration, of pioneering spirit, for clean technologies, for protection of the environment, people would say, one more. But when we land with a solar-powered airplane, you have the governor of every state who comes, you have the Minister of Energy of the US, you have the Secretary General of the United Nations, and they start to care, because it is spectacular, because it brings positive emotions, and I think that's really the importance of Solar Impulse.
Thank you, yes.
That's our way to contribute.
I would like to go over a little bit into our field here. So your movie and your entire life is full of glory. And we have seen there are now, as soon as you have glory, the politicians come on stage and they want to talk. They want to be part of this success. That's typical for politicians, isn't it? So now, we very often face the problem if you want something from politicians or from the government, they do not take the phone calls. I'm sure you had the same thing. What would you recommend us to do better in our business? I mean, our industry does save the environment, and we have no glory at all. What would you recommend us to do different?
I believe the first thing is to stop to say that protection of the environment is good for the next generation. Because, to be really honest, no politician cares about the next generation. They care about the following election. So give them arguments for the next elections. Tell them how many employment you have created. Tell them how much profit you do. Tell them how much taxes you pay on your profits. And show them that you are a powerful new industry that has a lot of development still to do. And associate them to your success. This is important. I believe it's probably the best thing. Because what runs the world today? Short-term personal interest. So give it. Give it. Don't say it will be profitable in 20 years. Show what is profitable today. Show what we can do today. And you have a lot of people who have not yet understood that if they want to earn money, they should not put their money on the stock exchange market. They should put the money in the isolation of a house, in the CO2 decrease of their industry or their factory, in all these energy saving and natural resource saving industry. This is what brings money today. So try to make it as shiny and exciting as you can. Then politicians will come to help you.
Okay. We did not prepare our questions now, and feel free to ask questions. Otherwise, I will do, and you have to answer. I have one question then for Raimondis afterwards. So start preparing an answer. I have a typical example which is proving that this works perfectly. I am driving Audi. Audi is a nice car, but a little bit boring. There is no innovation in it. It's four-wheel drive since 30 years, but that's it. And then a good friend of mine, who is general manager at BMW, he came to me, "Why don't you try one day BMW?" I said, "Okay, when do you have your electric car?" And that was 3 years ago. He said, "BMW will never make an electric car. We only have diesel, fuel, and hydrogen cars. That's it. This is stupid electric cars." Today, I own an electric car from BMW. This is typical. Just tell them what to do, and probably they do. Try. And I think the same thing with politicians. Tell them what they have to do for you. I mean, that's my experience. And the funny thing is, they very often did. So when I need special permits or something, they very often do. It's a fight, but you have to do it.
But there is a big misunderstood, I think, in the role of the governments and regulations. The free market and the entrepreneurs hate to have the governments come into their business. And that's the misunderstood. I don't think the governments should make regulations to impose and oblige what you have to do and how you have to do it. But I think if we really want to improve and go forward, the governments and regulators and the parliaments have to set legal frames in which we know how much energy we have to save, how much natural resources we have to save, and those big frames. And if we do that, the industry, with the entrepreneurship, with the creativity, will be able to bring the product on the market which will fit into the regulation. For example, the cars. You're speaking about the cars. We should never tell to factories, do electrical cars or do hybrid or do whatever. Give a goal. 2 or 3 liters per 100 kilometers. This is what you have to reach in 5 years. And in the beginning, they will scream a little bit for 6 months, and then they will start to work, and in 5 years, you'll have the cars that burn 3 liters per 100 kilometers. And they will save their brand, not like General Motors, who went bankrupt when the price of oil went up in 2008. It will be extremely well seen for the industry for the rest of the world. Maybe that's a way for Europe to maintain its car factories and industry. And it will be good for the customer who saves money also on the energy. And it's the same for houses, it's the same for everything. You know, in a country like Switzerland, I don't know for Austria, but in Switzerland, if you would replace all the normal light bulbs with light bulbs like we have on solar impulse, you would save the equivalent of an atomic Kraftwerk, a nuclear power station, just by doing this. So you add a lot of innovation. You have little companies who have to build these light bulbs, to install them. It's profitable everywhere. And I believe this is the field in which governments have to go. Regulation can be smart.
I would like to talk a little bit about PR. I mean, we heard the presentation from from a board member from Remondis. He told us he had, I don't know how many thousands of trucks. I'm sure on every truck it's written Remondis. But is this really profitable for you? I mean, why? I think a bank should make PR with your trucks. A bank should be have a clean image, and you know, not only in a financial way, also, you know, they stick to the environment, they promote it, but they don't. Sometimes I wonder why you do not make PR with your business. No, I don't know one single company who is doing PR with another company who could use it, Red Bull or whatsoever. Does somebody has an answer on this? We just believe sometimes our business is not so nice. You know, we are recycling waste. You know, waste. I mean, it's toxic. Maybe it stinks. It's liquid, whatsoever, dirty. Oh, it's awful. So nobody wants to really do PR. I mean, it's probably easy for you to make PR. You have a nice project. It's clean. It's flying, and so it's pioneering. But we take care of the real stuff every day. How can we make PR?
You know, when I launched Solar Impulse 10 years ago, I said to a few friends, if I really want to get rich, I would make a deal with big cities to be the exclusive buyer of their waste for the next 30 years. 10 years ago, people were still paying to get the waste collected. If you could tell to the cities, I buy you the waste for the next 30 years, that's a way to be the richest man in the world. Because it's clear that the waste is the natural resource of tomorrow. And now it starts already to be profitable, but we have not seen the end of it. The end of it is that the waste will be extremely valuable. And you are in a very interesting and promising business. And there is no way to say waste stink or it's liquid or whatever. It's a natural resource.
Yes.
And you have understood. But there are so many people who have not yet understood that.
Okay, any comments on this? I mean, feel free. I mean, Scott is here. Scott Wenhouse, Arrow. Tell us, you are a worldwide player. What would you like to have you don't have at the moment? From authorities, from financial help, from whatsoever. Please give him the mic. Please continue. Yeah. Wait, just mic doesn't work here. Can you make it? Okay, try.
Speak louder so we can. Can you put the volume on this microphone, please?
Is it on?
Soon good to be recycled.
Microphone that works.
Oh, okay, thank you.
No, I think for us, if I can have anything, it would be one global standard for e-waste.
One global what?
Standard.
Standard.
You know,
yes.
how to make it everywhere on the planet the same way. Okay, Joe.
It's true that you have a lot of competitions in some countries made by small children dying with the fumes of toxic waste, and this is still cheap. It's not acceptable, but it's clear that it still exists.
Joe, please.
Very impressed with everything in your I'm American Joe Yap from the United States, and I've been to Kitty Hawk, so I've been at Wright-Patterson, so it's fantastic. You're the Wright brothers of this generation. But I think the point really what you need to do is value. When you start looking at value, in the world, there's $30 trillion approximately of economic activity, yet the life support of the environment is $300 trillion. Yet our monetary system places no value on those resources. If our money was in part backed by natural resources, by clean air, by clean water, then there would be a race to have clean water and clean air. So what we're really doing is we really don't have a sound basis for our monetary. And the World Wildlife Fund said at the present rate, this is Mike Duke from Walmart in a speech in 2009, at our present rate, in the next 25 years, it will take 2 Earths to supply what we're demanding now out of 1 Earth, and we're not going to get another Earth. So I think you're right about the point. It's reaching a point where the resources are not going to be available, and I think that we should monetize. I would say, for an arguing point, 10% of our money should be backed by our environment. And also this gives people reason to preserve coal and oil. That would be a backing as well. Now you're not in direct confrontation. There's your money, it's a backing, here's your money for it. And if we don't do that, I don't think we're going to solve the problem, and I think we're going to see some real challenges. I've seen projections of 24-foot sea level within the next century. You know, this will wipe out the whole coastal parts of the world. Whether that's 24 foot or 10 foot or 3 foot, it's all unacceptable. But thank you very much.
But you are absolutely right in saying that the way we proceed today with humankind is leading us to a disaster. And some people understand, and they react, and they make a profitable business, which is a good example. And you still have people who say, oil is cheaper, let's burn as much as we can. And they don't understand that the cost of the oil is not included in the price. We don't have the environmental cost in the price of oil. We don't have the 200 million years needed for nature to make this reserve of oil. We don't have in the price of oil, the cost of the wars to get that oil and international problems and things like that. So it's a completely artificial society. Today we live on credit. So when we laugh at the bankers who made the subprime crisis in the US, saying, hey, it's completely crazy, lending money to people who cannot give it back, that's really stupid, why did they do it? Actually, we do exactly the same today with natural resources and with the environment. So maybe nobody will react, and we will go to a disaster. But we would not be the first one. You know, the Babylonians, the Egyptians, the Greeks, the Romans, all these ancient civilizations believed they would be forever, and they collapsed after an average of 700 years. So why would we escape that rule? Maybe, you know, there will be a big disaster, a big crisis. But it's a crisis for humankind. It's not a crisis for nature. This is why when people say we have to protect nature, it's a wrong business. Protection of nature is big enough and mature enough to take care of itself. If humankind disappears in a major pollution problem or a nuclear war or whatever, human beings will disappear, not nature. After a couple of thousand years, animals will come, trees will grow again, and only human beings will not be there anymore. And I had a friend who told me once, if human beings disappear, I hope the monkey will disappear also, so it will not start again.
That's a good one. So, when we come quickly back to your topic, solar impulse.
But this is the topic of solar impulse. You know, solar impulse is not an airplane flying. Solar impulse is a spirit and a message that we want to spread. And the goal is,
That's the reason why I ask you, is your message that one day we will fly with such airplanes or not?
It's not the goal, but maybe to answer more clearly, I would be crazy to say yes and stupid to say no.
Okay. Because the question was raised by my 7-year-old son. He asked me, when can I fly with Bertrand Piccard around the world, you know, in this airplane? So what do I have to tell him?
Tell him that when the Wright brothers made the first flight in 1903, Even Orville Wright said an airplane will never cross an ocean. And then Lindbergh crossed the ocean, and he was alone on board, full of gasoline. And everybody said, that's fantastic, but the problem is that if we want to fly between Paris and New York, we have to make our own pilot license and be alone in that crazy airplane. And 25 years later, there were 200 passengers in an airplane. So today, Solar Impulse has just one pilot, 0 passenger, we're full of batteries, and people say it will have no future. Exactly like Orville Wright said 111 years ago. So it shows that first you need the pioneers to open the door, to launch a new spirit. And then you have the industry who takes over and makes it a profitable business. And I tell you that in less than 50 years, of course, we'll have solar-powered airplanes. What I don't know is which will be the technology that will be used. But of course, people will fly with solar airplanes. Maybe it will be smaller airplanes flying slower, you put 10 people or 20 people, I don't know. But let's leave the future open. And this is the role of pioneers.
Okay. Do you know that down here there are also 300 pioneers?
I know.
We started this business.
I know, no, it's what I said before in the speech. I pull my hat to you because you are the type of people who show practically in the industry the reality of the message that we want to spread with Solar Impulse. Yeah. What we say, you do. And this is fantastic. And there are not a lot of industries who have really understood that. So what I would like to say, no, I keep this for the end.
Okay. Quickly, last thing, let's come to financials. So Bertrand Piccard is an excellent fundraiser. We also have to be fundraisers. So how much money did you raise for your project?
Until now, I raised 130 million US dollars, and we're still missing the last 20 million to finish completely the project and to fly around the world next year. And of course, we can fly low profile with no communication, with nothing. It would be cheaper, but it's not the goal. The goal is to make big events in every country that we overfly, in every country where we're going to land, in India, in China, in America, in Europe, North Africa. So we would need these 20 millions in order to really make a success out of this flight.
And this is a message. Hey guys, 22 millions are missing. So if a big company, I do not mention any names now, would like to sponsor, would like to have a tag on it and on your shoulders, what can you offer for 22 millions?
Well, I'm not asking to just one company to give 22 million. I think the good package is 5 to 10 million, where you have all the communication rights, where you can be on the plane, where you can be on the pilot jacket, where you can be associated to absolutely all the communication material, Solar Impulse, all the press conferences, all the meeting with political world. And it's true that until now, we don't have companies that are actively involved in this type of industry, of what you're doing. In electronic, we don't have. In recycling, we don't have. So it would be type of an exclusivity for the people who would come into that project. And I would welcome that really very, very much.
And am I right? You told me before, you do not receive any salary.
No, I don't have a salary from Solar Impulse. I don't want the sponsors to believe that they pay for my car or my house or my holidays. So actually I have no salary, and all the money I raise goes for the project to pay the salaries, the subcontractors, the construction of the plane, the mission flights, the operation, and so on. So it was not too bad, 130 millions in the last 10 years. It was a good fundraising.
That was
People
great.
believe it's a lot of money, but actually over the same period, it's less than 5% of a Formula One team.
So you see,
It puts
that's
in
a good
perspective.
argument, also for us. So, hey, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you,
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Bertrand.
Thank you.
That's the reason why he's now going to receive the Cowbell Award, the Green Cowbell Award. We have fabulous people changing the world and without salary. Unbelievable. Huh? So I have now my beep here. Is it possible that you do the next slide for this Cowbell Award? Yes, thank you. And please, Janet and Victor, come on stage. So.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please stay here.
Mr. Piccard, you received this award in the recognition of your pioneering spirit to go beyond today's human and technical limits, to fly around the world without fuel, without any pollution. Your remarkable commitments to save energy, to demonstrate the importance of clean technologies, to place dream and emotions, create great impact for our and future generations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now thank you. I would like to ask you to stand up for the national anthem, please.
Yeah, we are fine, Ariel.
So, thank you very much. Thank you. Any last words?
Yes. Well, first, thank you very much for this honor. And it's a big encouragement for André Borschberg, for me, for our entire team, because usually we receive the awards after the success and not before. And in this case, we receive it before we fly around the world. So it really means you trust us.
Yes.
And for the entire team, it's fabulous. After the success, we'll have a lot of awards. But those, like today, we'll remember in the bottom of our heart. I have now one request for you. We have two parts of the airplane that we need to recycle. One is everything except the batteries. This is easy. We recycle it by putting it in the museum. The batteries, we still have to find somebody who wants to recycle them. So if you have a volunteer, I'll be happy, because this is a question we hear very often. I know it's now a new industry, recycle of batteries. I think I'm at the best place to have advisors, so I can have a good answer for the next time I get the question. Now, the last thing I want to say is that maybe you consider yourself as industry people, business people, technical people. I consider you also as examples, as ambassadors of everything we've said today. We're speaking of a lot of things about this pioneering spirit, about inspiring others to make a better world. This is a role that you have. You should speak a lot more about what you do. You should communicate also in the media. We spoke about the political world, but in the media, there is a lot to know about this new industry. This gives hopes. It gives a lot of hope to people, lot of hope, that there are solutions. You know, I meet a lot of people who are depressed because the governance of this world is bad, because there are crises, because there is no hope, no future, just problems, environment, pollution, and so on. Each time there is a real solution, people are too modest. They don't speak enough about it. Speak about what you do. Stand up, give interviews, give speeches to schools, to universities. Try to have more people understand what you do and try to imitate you, to do like you do. You are role models in the industrial world and the environmental world. So I thank you, and I also congratulate you a lot. It was great for me to be here and to get to know you a little more. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
That's excellent. Thank you very much.
So, thank you very much. The show is over. Thank you.